Hey everybody, this is Avi Harkishin. Let's look at some charts really fast. Tomorrow's FOMC, so we're going to have a rate decision going on tomorrow, so it's going to move the market either direction. The expectation is we're going to have a rate reduction of 0.25. It seems the market has been pricing in that movement. That rate reduction, we're having a lot of bullish flows coming in. The overall market has been rallying continuously. Every pullback has been bought up. It's something I've been discussing. I've been looking at the charts, the volume profile, and I'm showing on the option flow as well. You're seeing accumulation continuously taking place at every pullback we're having. So the first thing I want to look at here is VIX. If you're not familiar with what VIX is the volatility index. It has an inverse relationship with the overall market, meaning whenever VIX is going up, the overall market will have a pullback. Whenever VIX is pulling back, the overall market will move up. That's the inverse relationship. So we're going to look at VIX. VIX here is in a falling wedge since we had the upside. It's just been dropping and now it's in a rising falling wedge. But one of the things that you want to look at, I don't have it here, it constantly keeps getting rejected at the 200 EMA, the daily 200 EMA. Let me pull that up for you. Okay, here it is. So here's the 200 EMA. Since VIX has peaked and it started dropping, it always move up above the 200 EMA and it just drop continuously. It gets rejected off of the 200 EMA. We have a gap over here at 19.58 to $20. So we do have a gap right there. But VIX currently, it has completed a 5-wave sequence to the downside. It's in what you call an A, B, C, D, E. Once you get to E, you tend to see some upside movement again, some reversals. So it's something I am cautious with looking at VIX. We are trading at the bottom here. As you can see, we tend to see some upside volatility whenever we hit the bottom within this range here. So I am very cautious with the overall market whenever VIX is trading within this range here at the bottom. You're in the falling wedge. I talked about this. You're seeing some bullish price action here on VIX, but you tend to see VIX, once VIX is below the 1743, 1701, it's still trading in a bearish zone, I would say. For us to see VIX in a really bullish scenario, you would have to see VIX break out of this 2183 or at least get above here. But every time it gets above that 200 EMA, it always does something like this and it gets rejected and it starts coming back down again. So it's possible you see something like this happening again. Not sure if we're going to have it tomorrow, but just want to let you know. VIX is starting to look a little bit bullish, but you tend to get rejected off of that 200 EMA. So once you're below the 1701, 1743 area, you're still trading within this range over here, which has been sort of like an accumulation range, you would say. And we're back into that range again. One of the things that I want to caution you about is that VIX, one of the things that I use as confluence is the BX trender. You have the BX trender on the daily that's flipped bullish today. On the weekly time frame, it flipped bullish as of today. So just be careful with it because it doesn't mean you'll have a huge spike. But whenever you see that flip, sometimes you have that spike, but yes, it could sell off again. But just be careful about it because it flipped bullish as of today on the weekly and the daily time frame. So be cautious tomorrow on FOMC. Rate cut would be pretty good for the overall market. The market has it pricing in the rate cut, but just want you to be alert on what's going on. Let's look at SPY. Let's look at the indexes. There is nothing bearish about the indexes. Overall, we're still on an uptrend. We're following the uptrend, moving up. We're holding the 21 and the 9 EMA. The 9 EMA here is the green line. The 21 is the blue. The 50 is the goldish color line. And the green line is the 200 EMA. So we're still following an uptrend. Nothing really in terms of bearish structure, not seeing that. Still think we're going to continue to make some upside movement. On the overall market, yes, you can see some pullback in the market. If you're looking at a lower time frame, let me just remove this for a moment. You may be able to see some pullback, don't know, but a lot of the pullbacks are being bought up. And if you get a pullback, it's very possible that you're going to get a pullback where it's going to get bought up, and that could happen tomorrow or so within this range here. One of the things I look at is to see where institutions are really accumulating, and the volume profile is telling you right here, if we get a pullback, expect to get some sort of support around that 657 area over here. Once you're staying above this area, I expect to see more upside tomorrow. So let's see what's going to happen tomorrow in terms of that. Let's look at QQQ. This is just going to be a fast pace video. I just want to get you updated on what I'm looking at. So still in a bullish trend, but we are seeing some selling happening here as of today. But you're still going to be you're still holding within this level here, 654 or so, where you can see it's you're stepping in and buy any dip tomorrow. So I don't think any dip is going to be long lasting. Keep that in mind. But with VIX set up right now and the overall market, just pay attention to it. On the daily for QQQ, we broke out an all-time high. I think you're going to continue to see more highs on QQQ. So it's really bullish in terms of volume. Nothing bearish that I'm looking at here. I'm not seeing anything bearish. I still think you're going to see more upside. You may see some pullback, but you are still trading above the 9 and 21 EMA, and you have the 50 that's acting as support as well. If you look, once you cross your price went above the 9, it continuously held the 21, and it touched the 50 like once, but the 9 has never crossed below the 21 EMA. So once that happens, you're still trading in an uptrend, and it's still moving. The EMAs are still moving in an uptrend. Let's take a look at IWM really quick. So IWM is trading within this. And the reason why I have take profit area here is that it's trading right within that supply zone, that big sell-off that you had. And now we're right back above this region. We're consolidating within this region. We're going to see what's going to happen. Daily BX trend has flipped bearish. Doesn't mean it's going to sell off right away, but there is some selling that's taking place. And if you get any kind of sell the news event tomorrow, I think you're going to get some selling that might be accumulated back at this region over here, which is a support 225 to 230. That's where you're going to see any sort of pullback. I think is going to be probably short-lived, where it's going to come right up here, and then you're probably going to move back up again. So something I'm looking at. Let's turn on the volume profile. There you go. So lots of support within this region. So once you come here, you're going to see selling probably start slowing down. I'm saying if they're selling, slowing down over here. However, bullish case scenario, I do think you're going to break out at some point. You're going to break out of this region here, this level over here. Once you break out, probably retest and keep moving up again. But this is the region you want to be careful with to see any sort of selling or move to the upside. I'm not going to be doing any sort of trading within this region here. I want to see what volume is doing as well. That's it for IWM. Again, where you're looking for in terms of support is right at this 230 to 226, 225 area, retest of this level here. If there's any sort of selling, that's going to be, let me see, but a 5%. Don't think we're going to 5% in the day, but any sort of selling going into October or so, this is a support region. You're going to be finding IWM come back to retest and then probably move back to the upside or so. I think we're in a fifth wave at the moment, where you can see more upside breakout here before you do that pullback, probably create a U-TAT or so. Let's take a look at GDX really fast. GDX, this tracks gold mining companies. This here is the weekly chart in GDX. Huge accumulation was taking place here on GDX. It's currently breaking out of his all-time high resistance. As you can see, there was a Wyckoff accumulation taking place, and I think gold has a lot more to go. Let me see here. Okay, here's the gold ETF GLD ticker symbol. Um, in an uptrend, but then you start forming this base right here. And as you can see, one of the things I talk to my members of is get into the habit of looking at the volume profile, because this is where you'll understand what institutions are really doing. And as you can see, look at the amount of shares that was accumulated within this region over here. So the volume really tells you the amount of shares is being accumulated pretty much, or buying and selling during the day, the transactions amount on the volume. Here on the volume profile, it tells you the transactions within the price, what kind of the prices that's being accumulated, where institutions are targeting in terms of whether or not they're accumulating or distributing, how many shares or so forth that's being accumulated this way. If you look at GLD really fast, you see we break the base over here and we push back above. This here tends to happen when you're trying to shake whoever is in this trade, you're trying to shake them off, and then you just move back up within the base again. And you can see the interest here. So the volume profile shows you the interest at the price, the investors, where they're interested, what price they are interested in right here. So showing you the high accumulation that was taking place. And once we break out of this base that was formed, this accumulation range, we start pushing to the upside. And I still think GLD and GDX is going to continue to push to the upside over the next couple of years. That's what we have for the indexes at the moment. I'm probably gonna do another video with individual stocks. Um, yeah, because I don't want to make the video too long, guys. So I'm gonna do another video with individual stocks. All right, that is everything we have here. I'm just gonna put everything within the Discord. Again, I'm gonna talk about a few stocks we're looking at here that I've posted. All right, guys.